real topics in this book. We just launched it maybe a year ago, but we're trying to get it out there. It's a manual, it's a helpful manual for those who may be in a relationship, maybe getting out of a relationship, maybe thinking about a relationship. But this book is just a guide to help you throughout the process. My husband, Bobby, myself, Kathy, we've been married, 49 years, celebrating 49 years this past week. And
Yes.
God has blessed us. We could not have done it without God. That's the first in our lives. Now, you may do it your way, but I'll tell you what has worked for us. Throughout the years, there has been challenges, but we were able to weather the storm. So this book is just a guide to help those, like I said, in a marriage, looking to be in a marriage, getting out of a marriage, don't want to be in a marriage.
Yes.
So, you can kind of introduce yourself, tell them who you are, and I'm going to give some excerpts about the book.
Well, my name is Bobby Montgomery. I have been married to my beautiful wife here for 49 years. And we're just sharing some of our experiences, some of the things that God has blessed us in this relationship, and some of the wisdom that God has given us in this relationship. And we just want to try to share this with some of you out there to perhaps keep you from falling into various pitfalls, or trying to guide you in a way that would cause your relationship to be better. And
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do. We feel that God has given us this knowledge to share it with others, and that's what we're going to do.
And like I said, there's no magic solution. So that's our disclaimer. We don't work magic, okay? In any relationship, it takes two people to work it out, to work together, to build. That's why we titled it Building, because anything you're building, you're making it, you're working at it. It's a process that you continually working at to make it better and better. Like building a house. I mean, you're a carpenter by trade,
Yes,
and
yes.
how did y'all lay the foundation?
Well, that's one of the first things you have to do. Everything has to be level in the ground.
Hmm.
The rocks have to be dug out. Everything, the roots have to be removed.
Right.
You can't build on sandy and sandy ground, uneven ground. It has to be even. It has to be, how you say, cultivated. It can't be anything that's going to break up or cause the foundation to
Oh,
break up.
now that's
Because if the
important.
foundation is bad,
Right.
your house won't
It won't
last. It's going to
stand.
crack up. You
Hmm.
see, if that foundation is not firm and laid down correctly, your home won't stand. Now, this is on the a building
Hmm.
platform.
Right.
You know.
That's on the natural. So think about on a spiritual tip. If you're not building on a solid, good foundation, and you know when you started dating or whatever, there was some flags that you didn't pay attention to.
Or there could be.
Yeah, there could be. Or you were just so enamored with that person, you didn't want to see any flags. The flags, we often say how you're driving down the highway and there's warning signs for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a sharp turn in the road, or warning, a drop off, or you see the signs, danger ahead. And if you go headlong into that, driving, not paying attention to the signs, guess what? It can be disastrous. So this is all we saying. Take note of the little signs. And we got some excerpts in the book. It's the little foxes that destroy the vine. It could start off something so old you might think it's cute when that you first getting in there. Maybe it's a temper tantrum
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship. But baby, it ain't so cute as that marriage or that relationship progress. You've been in this thing for 10, 15 years and they still having a temper tantrum. Something is wrong. I say, Houston, we have a problem. So these are just some real stuff that we're going to bring out to you. And that's not, the dating game is just the first chapter of the book. I'm going to go through a few other chapters that's in the book, because you might say, well, that's just your life story. No, no. We incorporate our life with the book to show you some of the things, how we made it through. Okay. Started out with nothing, no money, nothing. So we bringing it real life. So these are some of the chapters that we will be talking about in the book. Okay. The first chapter, what we're going to be talking about is the dating game. Okay. You can get this book on Amazon. We have it in ebook. If you want to be listening to the book while you're driving, I think the ebook is what, $8.99.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen while you are driving around. It's good read. It's good listening to, and it comes in about 40 different languages. So it's not just limited to English. The first chapter, what we're talking about tonight, and in a few more weeks, is the dating game, because that is one of the foundations. Like my husband say, that dating game foundation is the first foundation you're gonna lay in a relationship.
It's one of the keys of a relationship.
It's a key. I mean, if you fussing and fighting and you just dating, I can only imagine what you're gonna be like when you really get married.
If you get
there, if you even make it there. And then the other chapter is going to be unequally yoked. And I can say this to Christians: you can find somebody in the church and still be unequally yoked.
That's true.
You see, that could be a big hindrance in itself. Well, you say, well, what you mean, Kathy? He go to church, but you still can be unequally yoked. Then we have another one. What's love got to do with it? Is it lust or is it love? We present the question back to you, because nowadays people just want a good lay, booty call, if that's what you want to call it, and they don't want commitment. You're wasting your time if you want a commitment and you know this person don't want a commitment. We have seen relationships go for what, 20, 30 years, what we call, and they still don't want to commit.
Yeah.
See, so you saw the signs early on. He or she was telling you, I ain't ready for marriage.
Yeah, 20-year fiance.
Still your fiance after 20 years. That's true. And they just keep leading you on. Well, one day I might, but the family is growing. You're still having kids, but no commitment. Something is wrong with that. Then we have another one. With this ring, I thee wed. This is talking about what? When you getting ready to, you don't make the decision. This is the person for me. So now we're going to go on to the altar and we're going to make this thing happen. Okay? Yeah. This talking about with this ring, I thee wed. This ring is more than just a ring, or you going and you spending thousands and thousands of dollars on a wedding, all but to see after 4 years you're ready for divorce. Come on now, come on. Then there's a chapter that I wrote. This is a joint book, but I wrote a particular chapter called For Women Only. And sometimes women go through traumatic things and experiences in life, and sometimes they want a relationship, but they've been so hurt, they haven't given themselves time to heal themselves before they go into another relationship. So this is talking about For Women Only. And then my husband, he wrote a book, Bobby, his characteristics of a godly man.
Yes,
and you can talk on that.
Well, characteristics of a godly man is just what it says. Okay, I'll say it this way. A man should be the head of his household. He should be the priest of his household, and he should be the king of his household. But what he should be most and foremost is righteous, godly. Godly is connected to righteousness, and righteousness is connected to godliness. So if you have a husband or a man or somebody that's, how you say, nefarious, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt that relationship. That's going to hurt the family. That's going to help to tear it down. Is what the scripture said. Righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people.
That's what it says.
That's what it says.
But in today's society, people don't want you to bring God into anything.
Well, see,
you know that.
Well, that may be true, but if he's not in, especially a relationship, if he's not there somewhere, somehow,
some kind of principle,
something is not going to work. Even if here's the thing about it. Even if you say you don't believe in God,
That's your prerogative.
that's all right. But in a relationship, there's got to be some rightness going on. You might not say, well, godliness or righteousness or whatever, but it's got to be some moral upstanding, some rightness happening in that home. And that should start with the head, who is the man.
You would think, but like I said, and this is not, we ain't trying, because if you're an unbeliever, you still need to listen to the book, okay? Hopefully with us bringing you some practical knowledge on relationships, I do believe there's nuggets in here for everybody.
All right? There's nuggets in there for everybody, and that's what we're sharing.
Right.
Even though we have contexts of rightness and righteousness and godliness in the book, this book is really for everyone.
It's for everyone.
So don't dismiss the book because it might have
God in it. Yeah. You know. Or because even people in Hollywood, they'll mention God. Okay, so I can mention God. Okay, like I say, how you choose to live and worship God, that's on you. But we're telling you some foundational principles, just like you said with the house. You're not going to say, if that foundation is the main ingredients in building that house, somebody who never built the house can't tell you how to lay the foundation.
That's true. And one thing we will want to bring out also in this regard, in reference to our book, Building Godly and Mature Relationships, you wonder how someone, and it's somewhat common, how people can stay together for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. Someone is doing something right. Because if someone is not doing something right, it won't last that long. It's just like I said about that foundation. If that foundation is cracked and broken, the house will fall.
And let me read this out of the book. This is in Ecclesiastes 4:9. It says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up.
That's right.
Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And I know in this society, we got a lot of independent, and I'm going to say it from my perspective, independent women who say, I don't need a man. That's your prerogative. This is to the women who maybe they do want a relationship. You know, maybe you have been a superwoman and you did it all your own and you got your degree, you got your house, you got your car. But like they say, it's a lonely place when you get up at the top and nobody is there with you. You know, we're going into another chapter of our lives, retired. And it would be lonely. And to those who have lost a loved one and you've been together a long time and that person went on home to be with the Lord or his designated place, you can be lonely, but you should be able to find some kind of commitment in, I'm not saying a sexual relationship, but maybe just as far as a person that you could talk to, you could do things together, just companionship, you see. But you don't always, if you find yourself being depleted in a relationship, that's a warning sign. Because a relationship should go both ways. Like you said, when I'm down, you should be able to help me up. And when you're down, vice versa.
Yes.
You know, you can't build a house by yourself. That's now, right. You might be good, but you still need what? Contractors?
You need some help.
Somebody got to do the plumbing, what else?
The electrician, the framing, all that, the plastering, all that. Building a home takes a lot of components.
Yeah.
Building a relationship takes a lot of components. And in building any relationship, it's going to take some knowledge, some wisdom. It's going to take all of that.
That's true.
It's a learning way. I used to hear the older people say, well, if their spouse has passed away, they say, they don't have time to learn another woman, or the woman might say, I don't have time to learn another man. And that's what relationships is. You are learning one another.
And
And when you learn one another more completely, the more harmonious it'll be.
But you said, companionship is more than just sex. And we need to get this out. You can have companionship maybe to those who have lost a spouse or divorced and later on in their years, and you might just want somebody to hang with. You might want somebody to go on cruises with, or everything ain't about sex. And this is why I get infuriated. I mean, every time you cut the TV on, they equate love with sex. Love is not just sex. I mean, when you're young, it's a big component of it. Mm-hmm. But like I said, even with that, it get old. If that person ain't bringing nothing else to the table but sex, I don't care how good he or she look, you're going to get tired of. Yeah. Women, if he's so fine, you can't hardly stand to look at him, but he won't hit a lick at a snake, that junk going to get old very quick. And you're going to be at the divorce court.
Well, see, the thing about a relationship is two ways. I mean, both parties have to be involved, and sometimes it'll be equal. Sometimes it's going to go a higher percentage one way or a higher percentage the other way.
But you're both giving.
But both parties are giving, and both parties are working things out. That's a relationship. Right. In a real relationship, there's got to be some bending there.
Sometimes.
Because if there's no bending there, it's going to be a break. And a lot of times when that break is there, it's hard to mend. You see?
Yeah.
You have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
So that means it's just like this. When you come together, when you're having a relationship, you're two different people, but you're still learning to be one. Mm-hmm. And in that instance, you that's what you become, because you learn each other to the point whereas you're almost just one person. When this person hurt, the other person hurt.
You remember the nursery rhyme? It said Jack Sprat could eat no fat. Mm-hmm. That's in the book too.
Yeah.
His wife could eat no lean. Said, but between them both, you see, they licked the platter clean. And as a kid, I didn't know what that meant. But as I got older, I understood what it was saying, that it takes a collective effort to build a house. A collective. He couldn't eat the fat, she couldn't eat the lean, but between the two of them, they licked the platter clean.
They work together.
And that's what it's all talking about. So, hey, we are certified marriage coaches. And we would appreciate your questions. We have helped a lot of people through just some of the obstacles of life. And like I said, some of the pitfalls. Everything is not hunky-dory, but there might be some times in your life you just might say, look, what should I do in this situation? Now, like I said, we put the disclaimer out there that we're not magical. We're not miracle workers in that sense. We can pray with you. And I'm telling you something, some marriages do need some deliverance. You done picked up a lot of toxic things in your life throughout the life, and you bringing it in that relationship, and the relationship is toxic. Mm-hmm. And you need to get delivered.
Mm-hmm. Need to work it out. Need to be worked out.
So this is why God impressed on us to bring it to you, because we got a lot of garbage going on YouTube about relationships. But we're not here to tell you what to do. We will give you some advice, but when the ultimate decision is up to you.
It is.
Right?
But one thing that we can say in this regard is this. You can tell if someone is toxic towards you in the investigative stage, in the dating stage. Now, if you see someone has some toxicity about them and they don't want to rectify that, then why would you get into that relationship and this person is toxic?
Right.
I mean, it's hard to get out of. It's like quicksand or mud or something.
Mm-hmm.
When you step off into quicksand or mud, it's not that easy to get it out of it.
Right.
But when you see it there and you don't step in it, well, you don't have to worry about getting stuck.
And so, yeah, in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about, you know, some of the warning signs.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why you got to be real with yourself. You probably, I'm gonna say it like this: that person that is saying, "I'm gonna ignore the signs," that's when you really need to take notice of it. Because if you're trying to ignore something, then that means it's bothering you,
and it's there.
It's there. So this is what we're going to be talking about, the dating game, in the next few weeks, and then we're going to move on to another chapter. But again, you could pick up the book on Amazon, go and read it, listen to it, so we'll have some dialogue when you call in. You may say, well, I don't know what you meant about this part of the book, but we can be able to have dialogue. And if you got some questions, like I said, send us an email and we do answer. And we have our own Facebook, which is Building Godly and Mature Relationships. You can ask us questions on that as well. So until then, next week?
Yes, next week.
We hope to see you 7 o'clock. We came on a little late tonight because like I say, we just started the channel. But in the future, we're going to try to be on 7 o'clock every Sunday. Join us, tell a friend, tell those dating, tell your teenage kids that's thinking about dating. It's for all of them. If you're coming out of a relationship, tell them, hey, y'all need to tune in. Not, like I say, we're not experts, but we do have a little wisdom. You know what I mean?
We have a little bit of wisdom.
You know, so hey, we're glad that you could tune in. We hope we will be beneficial for you, and be sure to join us next week.
7 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
Building Godly and Mature Relationships. And love conquers all.
Yes, it does. And you have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.